You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. And be sure to smash that like button. All right, transfer portal's open. So far, just John Emery and Javen Nicholas have gone in the portal. Are we anticipating, Shea, anybody else from LSU potentially hitting that escape hatch?
From speaking with sources, there was the thought that a couple of guys maybe could enter, and it would still kind of fall under how Brian Kelly described it as what would be a quiet portal season, spring portal season, relative to, I guess, the past or how some other teams are going through things. And so far, that's been the case. I think the women's basketball portal is about to close. Maybe that's tomorrow night, then men, and then Friday would be football for men. So by the end of this week, the portal is kind of wrapped up completely. But football-wise, keeping an eye on if a couple of guys enter. And, Matt, I think it's something you've talked about plenty, but right now with guys who are backups, and none of these guys would be starters from names I've heard. None of them are guys who just transferred in, but rather guys who are battling to play, kind of second-team guys, but still, when agents are involved, they're tossing around, hey, look, if you went to this school, which you can't go into any SEC schools at this point, they're past that transfer deadline date, but, this school X would be able to offer you an NIL package worth blank, and that would be worth more than you currently have. And right now we're in those final days, they hope, of the wild, wild west before Deloitte becomes a third party, that any NIL deal over $600 or whatever goes through them to look at and see if it's got legitimacy, and then rev share, which I think is going to curtail a lot of at least the massive numbers that are way beyond market value, or however you would kind of perceive an NIL package or deal rolling out. And right now, there isn't that. So I think a lot of guys are saying, hey, look, this is my final chance to make my push for maybe more. But I think that LSU's at a spot where, since Austin Thomas came here, what was it, Matt, a year ago? Maybe a little more?
Yeah.
And since they've kind of shuffled up Bayou traditions and had some new leadership there, and I think all of that put together has put them in a spot where, look, we saw Brian Kelly open up about it, the kind of model of NFL and, knowing what market value is and having each position assigned a different kind of number next to it of what that value is, and they'll follow that. And if a guy says, a backup says, I want this, and that's worth more than, everybody on the defense is making or starters are making, they're probably not going to budge. It's going to become a point where, hey, that's a business decision on our end to say no, just like it's a business decision on your end to say, hey, look, it's this or I'm out of here type of situation. It's like the Nico stuff, but not like it at all, right, Matt? Like, it's the type of stuff in the portal that kind of happens at every school right now that you just don't hear about. So no starting quarterbacks or anything like that, or trying to bail out of here or anything of that nature. And hey, look, that's probably the best thing, is stay out of the news in the spring portal window.
What about the other side of it, Shea? Any rumblings about potential targets at LSU maybe looking to bring in here in the spring portal window so far?
Well, we knew that D-line, D-tackle, look, they'll always take them, but it's such a premium position that, of course, you're always on the lookout for it, and we saw it how kind of that went in the spring portal window a year ago, and they knew, hey, look, let's do all of our heavy lifting in this first portal window. Let's do it by signing high school guys, retaining guys on the roster, keeping the Don McKinleys and everybody put, and then if you have to add any D-line transfers, you can. But just not a ton of big-name DTs have gone in. I think linebackers, safety, there's spots where you would say, sure, you could take an extra guy there. But more than anything, Matt, I wonder, and this is at the balancing act, if you've got, without naming position, I'd be like a couple DTs or safeties or linebacker, whatever it might be, you got a couple of guys that say, hey, look, we may or may not go in. We do want you to stay. You've got until Friday to announce. Kind of the last thing you're wanting to do is say, hey, look, let's take this other guy, bring him in, who may or may not even be as good as those guys, and say, all right, you're at it. And then those guys say, oh, well, look, if you're continuing to add guys, I'm probably going to play less, so I'm out now. So when Brian Kelly said they really like their roster right now, I think that's what kind of the big point he's making is we'll choose and kind of work with what we've got, in this final stretch of the portal window and any NIL deals that need to be redone or conversations that need to be had about where I'm at on the depth chart and how much playing time I might get and all of that. They'll deal with all that and kind of work through that before saying, hey, let's go out and grab a new guy at that spot. But if they had some position where a guy or two both go in and now you're down, then, yeah, you've got to turn around and start exploring. And by Friday, you have to have your name in. But obviously that is not when the portal ends. No one has to be committed by then. So we'll see if after Friday they suddenly say, hey, look, we ended up losing more than Javen Nicholas and John Emery, and it was at this position. Let's go ahead and address it.
He's on Twitter at Shea Dixon, On3 the Bengal Tiger. Shea, we know that June is typically when all the camps crank up, right? What about high school recruiting right now? Like, what's going on right now with the schedule?
It's a time when you can make visits, all of that right now. I think it's been I know for a fact it's been a tough stretch for LSU with the passing of Kyron Lacey and how that's affected team, coaches, personnel, everybody up there. So they didn't have a lot of guys come through this past week. They gave everybody off for Easter, and I think now you're picking back up with it. So you'll see guys start to hit campus again. Now that spring ball's over with, they'll get through this week of the portal. Guys will be back on campus probably as soon as this weekend. And in the blink of an eye here, we're only a few weeks up from it. We'll be into May, and then official visits start, which is kind of the big point of a prospects recruitment where you've got your family with you, you make your string of kind of official visits 1, 2, 3, or 4, 5, whatever it might be, where you're staying overnight, you're meeting with the coaches, you get the full red carpet treatment. And we've started to see in recent years that after those visits end for these guys who are all about to be rising seniors that will, start their senior year in the fall, they want to get it over with. So they'll make their official visits in May, June, and then make announcements. And as of right now, LSU's got, 9 commits. They still have the number 1 class in the country, recruiting class, for the 2026 cycle. And that's without guys like Lamar Brown, who remains uncommitted, or Blaine Bradford here in town, who had committed to Ohio State. They've still got the number 1 class out there. So if you start to add some more they start to add some more pieces. And certainly if they get a guy like Brown to join the class, or if they ever flip a guy like Bradford, that pushes you up even further. So as always, it kind of looks like they're in a pretty good spot, Matt, to finish with a top 5 class, which is kind of right in that range you want to be. You're sitting there with Georgia and Bama's kind of hung around there, but Southern Cal's up there having a nice year. But the kind of standard has been that Bama, Georgia, LSU, Clemson, Ohio State, Texas now are teams that have consistently finished with top 5 classes. And for the second year in a row, LSU's going to go through spring and into the summer with the number 1 class.
He's Shea Dixon, On3 the Bengal Tiger, visits with us every Tuesday here. Make sure you get him on Twitter at Shea Dixon. We appreciate it, man. I'll see you next Saturday for Pearl Jam.
Yes, yeah. If I need a ride, I'll let you know. I'll call you.
Right, I got you covered. You know that. We're in. All right, thanks, Shea.
Okay, bye, Matt.
See you, man. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.